Dear students, I am Dr. Nidhi Sharma, Associate Professor Zoology from p.g.govt.college, Jhalawar. In this video, I shall tell you something about the human circulatory system. This is part 1 of a series of videos of the human circulatory system. Introduction. Humans and other vertebrates have a closed circulatory system. What is the meaning of a closed circulatory system? This means that circulating blood is pumped through a system of vessels. This system consists of the heart, which is actually like a pump, series of blood vessels, and the blood that flows through them. Now, this is a cartoon to show you the truth about your heart. The heart. The heart is located near the center of your chest. It is a hollow structure. It is composed almost entirely of muscles, that is, the cardiac muscles. It is the size of a clenched fist. Enclosed It is enclosed in a protective sac called the pericardium. In this diagram, you can see the pericardium. The pericardium is a thin sac enclosing the heart. Here you can see the lungs and the heart enclosed in the pericardium. In the walls of the heart, two layers of tissue form a sandwich around a thick layer of muscle called the myocardium. Contractions of the myocardium pump blood through the circulatory system. The heart contracts about 72 times per minute. It pumps about 70 milliliter of blood with each contraction. The right and left side of the heart are separated by a septum or wall. The septum prevents the mixing of oxygen-rich and oxygen-poor blood. As seen in this diagram, you can see the blue colored portion is the impure blood, and here in this case you see the red colored blood being the pure blood. The left side always has pure blood and the right side has the impure blood. Here you can see the left atrium, the aortic wall, the mitral wall, the left ventricle, the right ventricle, tricuspid valve, pulmonary valve, and the right atrium. On each side of the septum are two chambers. The upper chamber receives blood is the atrium. The lower chamber pumps blood out of the heart is the ventricle. Here you can see the left atrium receives blood, the right atrium receives blood, the left ventricle pumps the blood out, and the right ventricle also pumps the blood into the lungs. The heart has a total of 4 chambers, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. The pathway of the blood. Deoxygenated blood passes from the right atrium to the right ventricle and then goes to the lungs. From the lungs, blood moves back towards the heart into the left atrium to the left ventricle and then passes into the aorta to go to the rest of the body. Here in this diagram, you can clearly see the upper portion, the head and arms. This supplies the blood to the head and arms. Then you've got the right lung and then you've got the left lung. The blood from the upper head and arms comes into the right atrium. Also from the lungs comes to the right atrium. And here you can see the blue blood, which is the purple colored blood, which is the impure blood. It goes to the right ventricle. From there it goes to the lungs, both the lungs. The blue colored in the lungs, the blood is oxygenated, purified, and from the pulmonary vein, the pure blood comes to the left side of the heart. That is, it goes to the left atrium, and from the left atrium, it goes to the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, it goes to the aortas, the three branches of the aortas, goes to the head and the arms, and then below to the trunk and the legs. Now, there are certain valves in the heart to prevent backflow of blood. As the heart contracts, blood flows into the ventricles and then out through the ventricles. Flaps of connective tissue called valves are located between the atria and ventricle. Blood keeps moving and keeps the valves open. When the ventricle contracts, the valves close, which prevents blood from flowing back into the atria. There are also valves that stop blood from re entering the ventricles after the blood has left. This system of valves keeps blood moving in one direction, which increases the pumping efficiency of the heart. Now we will talk about the heartbeat. Heart muscles, as shown in this electron micrograph picture, are composed of individual fibers. Each atrium and ventricle contracts as a unit. Each contract begins with a group of cardiac muscle cells in the right atrium known as the SA node or the sinoatrial node. Because the SA node paces the heart, it is also known as the pacemaker. The impulse spreads from the pacemaker to the rest of the atria. From the atria, a signal is sent to the atrioventricular node and then to a bundle of fibers in the ventricle. When the ventricle contracts, blood flows out. In the next part, I will tell you about the blood vessels.